out to the whole group. We'll also be sharing this with headquarters. We are taping this conference call. We are taping this, just so you know. So Jen can get notes later if she misses it. Any questions before we start?
You guys are all muted, just so you know, too. So unmute yourself as you guys need to, and then remute yourself.
Okay. So just jump in if you want to go, if you want to nod to us, well, I can call on you. But the first question, there's two categories. The first question is specific to the current situation we're under, which is all the COVID-related changes we've had to do with scheduling. First question is, are you utilizing SOMO at-home programming? And if not, and this is directed towards your athletes, of course, and if not, is there a way we can make it any better so that you would use it? And I guess an example of SOMO programming, Jen, what would be a good example of it?
They've been doing everything from daily exercises to dance classes, cooking at home, mental games, things like that. So there's a variety of programs, if you're not familiar with it, being offered by our Missouri athletes, also our Missouri staff. In addition, they're linked into the nationwide programs, so they can actually log into other Special Olympics programs throughout the nation too for SOMO at home.
So has anybody been utilizing that for your athletes?
I haven't been using any of it because my athletes were out here in the rural area. A lot of my athletes don't have internet or phones or anything like that they could use. And I'm also a school teacher, so it has been quite challenging trying to get lessons to them too. So, but we're trying.
Well, good. We understand that. We understand that if the athletes don't have phones and they don't have internet access, that will be a problem. Hopefully this won't be going on a lot longer. So hopefully we can get that remedied, but we are going to be offering some things in May. Some other things that we're going to be doing, they're asking each of us to come up with ideas. So they've asked me to maybe do like a basketball skills videos. I got a guy that's going to help me maybe do some just basic skills, or maybe we'll send something out that says the most common violations in a basketball game, and we'll break it down and show them, what a double dribble, why they get called for a double dribble, why they get called for a travel. Since you can't maybe keep them occupied for a full hour, we might be able to do like 15-minute sections of it rules. So is there anything you all would like to see for your athletes? Specifically to a sport or anything else? Nope. Okay.
Could you do techniques for throwing the softball and the tennis ball? We have a couple little ones that we try to teach that to, but maybe if they saw someone other than us doing it, they might accept it a little better than they do from us.
Yeah, I think the idea, I think all the sports are eventually going to be covered. Again, they may be just 15-minute short videos, and they may be live. Some of them may be taped. I think they asked me to do ours on tape. But we will get those out. We will get those out to you. You all know where to check to go find that. The website, is it under a certain area, Jen, on the website? SOMO Online, is that home programming?
It's SOMO at home.
Okay, SOMO at home. Okay. So just check that every now and then. You'll see updates. How can we support any of you during this time? You, the coaches. What can we do now while we have this lull in programming? What can we do to support you guys and ladies? Anything at all? Can we be doing things to prepare the comeback? So, can you hear us, Melody? Can we be doing anything for you to get ready for our return? So our return would probably look like, I guess you got the email about the summer games, the changes to that. A couple of those sports are going to fall games, the outdoor games. Some of it they're going to do virtually. If you need anything else on that, we will share those as soon as we get it. Budget, we've been working on remanaging the budget, so things are shifted forward, shifted back. We know we're saving money in some areas, unfortunately, but we also are unable to raise money at this time. But in a lot of areas, we can't. We are doing things right now to raise money for the comeback. But just wanted to know if there's anything we can do to help you get ready. Nothing's really changed. Our budget's still intact for outdoor games. We still plan on, I think it's gonna be the same sports, the same regular sports, tennis, golf, softball, bocce, and then powerlifting and volleyball. So I know a few of you have volleyball teams, and that will, I don't know if we got clarification. I don't think they're gonna have to pick one over the other.
That was going to be my question. Yeah, that was going to be my question was because we have a volleyball team, only one, but that's a team sport, but then they would be doing softball, so they'd only get to do one of them, correct?
They would not. They can do both. So, excuse me, volleyball and powerlifting will both be offered on Thursday, along with they're starting bocce, and that was already in the plan on Thursday. So bocce will actually start this year on Thursday, and that was just because it's gotten so big, they needed to add that anyways.
Okay.
So obviously, if you have one of your athletes that are doing powerlifting or they're doing volleyball, they'll do their bocce on Friday still. So they'll still be able to do bocce, but so you can definitely they could do volleyball Thursday, they can do bocce or tennis on Friday, and then they can play softball on Saturday. So it'll be, we're going to fit it all in and make it happen. But yes, it will not conflict, and they can definitely do both.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
And we'll get clarification on the virtual games part of things. We'll get more clarification on it.
May 1st is the big announcement on what sports will be offered and how to sign up. So if you guys want to see it live, that'll be on May 1st. They're going to go live and give you this is what we're doing. This is what your athletes can do. This is how you sign up. If you missed that, you guys know we'll follow that up with an email. Make sure you guys know everything that was announced on that May 1st date. So basically, next week, you guys should be getting something with how the virtual summer games is going to work. And that's an opportunity for any of our athletes to participate there too.
And we are looking at possibly, I have not talked with Matt Rubel from Farmington, the superintendent of Farmington. I don't think we're ruling out possibly in September doing the MAAA track and field meet. He was looking at possibly doing that in June, but then I don't think that was going to work out. I threw out the idea of possibly September. He didn't give me a response to that. But if we would do that or find a time before we go to state games, we would probably open up MAAA for the whole area. So if anybody from CAFE or Poplar Bluff region, anybody wanted to go to that, school age, it's for school agers, but we could even open a division for the seniors and the masters. I don't think you'd have a problem with that. I just don't know if he'll be on board with that. I do know he wanted to try and have it. So the best time for us to do that would probably be in September when school's back. So we have to clarify with that with him. Lila, have you heard anything about that? Have you talked to Matt at all, or anybody talked to Matt up in that area recently? Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I'll be calling him very soon to see where they're at. I know they've got a lot going on with graduations and trying to figure all that out. But if we do offer that track meet, we would open it up to any athletes that would have gone to Poplar Bluff or Cape, and then we can get it all in that day. So that might be a big plus for us. Okay, moving on. Are there other coaches' trainings? I know, Melody, you took part in a softball coaches training with him at headquarters on Zoom, I guess it was on Zoom. We might be willing to do that if we can get the right trainers to do more sport-specific trainings online, or some of the other trainings are going to be done online. Are there anything you would like to see us do as an area, or we'll find out what the headquarters is going to offer? Anything you guys are wanting or needing?
Online coaching
training.
I thought it was pretty cool the way that it was done. They just went through like an agenda. So I kind of liked that. And even for future stuff, it was pretty, you kind of got to ask questions as you went along, things like that, and they would answer them for you. And everybody was there I thought it was pretty neat. I would do it again, definitely.
Anybody else does anybody have a certain sport they need that will be coming up for the fall they don't have and we would need to get done maybe by Zoom? Is everybody pretty current that you know of on your staff?
Well, Lila's not saying anything, so I'm going to throw her under the bus here. Lila's leaving me this year, so we've got a new one coming in at West County that she's going to need all of her training for basketball and everything. She's got nothing. So I'm going to have to get her into whatever I can.
Okay, and Jen can help her with that. Most of that is online. The sports specific, we will probably do that. Although if we're back this fall, we could do it in person. But I agree with Melody. I think I think this may be the way to do bigger coaches trainings, get everybody who doesn't have to travel, saves everybody money. If we can actually set this probably up even in a gym if we needed to show, I don't know, camera wise what we'd have to do, but we could probably do demonstrations and things like that if we needed to get through the sport specific parts of it. As far as documents and forms, that can all be done pretty much right in front of a computer to explain that. Even some practice schedules or things we would need to go through. I think we can show that online or send you stuff ahead of time by email, agendas, and maybe some paperwork to look at while we're going through it. We do have coaches and people in the area that would love to come in and probably sit down with us and get through those. So yeah, so we definitely need to get basketball for you guys. And if anybody else has one, you can email us anytime. So don't feel like you have to share today, but maybe check with your volunteer coaches, your staff at the schools, and see who needs what, so we can kind of plan for it going into June, July, and August in the school year. Is there anything we could be offering to families at this time? The families, some of you are coaches and do both. Is there anything we could be doing for families right now that the area could do or state could do for families? Okay. Do you have anything else? Is there anything else related to this brief shutdown because of COVID-19? Is there anything that you want, any clarification on scheduling or anything at this time? If not, you can email us and we can get you those answers. Are we good there? Pretty much everybody knows what we're doing. Okay. As unfortunate as it is, there is a plan to come out. Okay, moving on to the second topic that headquarters sent out to us was specific to normal programming. First question is, what would you like to see offered for you, your families, and athletes at the Training for Life campus? If you had a chance to go there, and there will be opportunities to go to the Training for Life campus, what would you like to see offered for you, your families, or your athletes? Okay. Or is anybody planning on attending camps this year? If we get back online, is anybody wanting to send anybody to camp this year? I see one head nodding no. Melody? What do you guys think?
We've considered sending Logan again this year. Depends on how it goes.
Okay. Anybody else from Cape Independent? Peggy, have you heard from anybody else? Oh, it's full. The one right now is full. Well, they may offer other sessions later, but the next one coming up is when?
June.
In June. So the June one, I guess, is full.
And they're going to do some sports-specific camps, if you guys haven't seen this, to where it'll be just a weekend, like a 2-day, and it'll be a sports-specific. So, like, for example, basketball. I know that's one they've talked about. So you'll be able to send your athletes for just, again, a Saturday, Sunday, they get to come. They get to learn basketball skills. They get to play basketball games. They'll have some kind of general rec activities and stuff as well. But they're going to be doing a few of those coming up. And so we'll definitely let you guys know as those come up too, if you guys have athletes interested in participating in those.
Okay.
Haven't heard anything from any of my athletes, but I think that would be a good option for them if they do the weekend things. Because a lot of them work, and now that they've been off for this long, they may not want to go for a week during the summer.
That makes sense.
So maybe arrive on a Friday night, have camp on Saturday, and then depart Sunday morning, or come back. Maybe just to depart. It was a one-day camp. Okay.
If that was something that we asked them, though, is that something that, because a lot of them in our area, we know most of them's transportation reasons, like their parents cannot take them up there. But is that something that we would maybe be able to do as even a volunteer coach? If we say, hey, you know what, we have 3 that possibly want to go, can we take them up there and then just, wait to bring them back, or drop them off and then come back and get them or something? With that, because I think that's what holds up a lot of ours in our area is they just don't have a way up there and back.
What would you guys think? Do you think people would want to stay or want to come? I mean, it's a long drive to drop off and go back and pick up, but I think, and they probably would, they'd have to have some type of supervision at the hotel, because that is, that's under it's the parents' responsibility, right?
Yes.
So, yeah,
You-
I think if there's money, if it comes down to money, I think we'd have to find out ways to help with that to ensure we can get it done. So we'll check in, we'll find out more what they're thinking and what would be the options. The next question has to do with like state games and even area games. Are there things we're not doing at opening ceremonies? Are there any ideas you've seen anywhere at any other function that you think our athletes might enjoy that's cost effective? You know, like they added the fireworks last year at outdoor, I think it was. That was a nice. They can't do that every time, but they did do that because they had missed summer games. Is there other things off the top of your head that you'd like to see for opening? I know they tried local performers. I mean, it's great to get a celebrity there, here or there. I just don't know who all they would be able to get. They do. There is limitations on what they can put out and spend for an entertainer, but I do think 4th of July, everybody loved that. I mean, of the firework display. But if you think of anything for opening, let us know. What about non-sport activities that would benefit athletes during their downtime at state games? Any suggestions on what to do with athletes during the downtimes you may have?
Or even downtime at our local events. Any ideas you guys have for the athletes, stuff they might like?
Okay. Again, you won't hurt our feelings, so shoot us an email if you can think of something. How about area and local events? Area and local events. What can we do to improve them for you? Are there some sports we're not offering locally? Are there, I mean, the competition levels is a little limited to who comes. So basketball, we used to do an area basketball tournament, which I would love to still do. And then regional, it got taken away. But we would love to do an area again, except that if you don't have the right number of teams to play your teams, then you really can't have divisions. But is there anything, I know we do something kind of for tennis. We don't do a local golf. Like local bocce, if we could get people to come in for St. Louis, Peggy, or anybody else that does bocce, would that be something you'd be interested in?
I would like it, but I'm sure that since they have the St. Louis tournament, they're not going to want to come here. They just, because they do it at one of the universities up there. And I mean, the only place we would have to do it on turf is at the Sportsplex. So, I mean, I don't know.
The turf as well at the
Huh?
university. The intramural fields at the university are also turf here in Cape as an option. Something we've never looked at before, but they do have turf fields now for both of those softball fields at the corner of Spring and Bertley there.
Yeah, somebody at the gym had told Lisa about that, told her she needed to go there and practice, since he said, anybody can go there. So,
And she enjoyed being there. I think there's options to do stuff there. I think there's also options maybe to get with Jocelyn out of St. Louis on some of these sports, and maybe have a bocce instead of it being in St. Louis. Maybe we meet in the middle, meet up in one of the St. Francis County facilities. They have a lot of nice turf facilities up there at Farmington. Everywhere we hold our track meets, Park Hills, North County. There are some nice facilities in that area that would save us some driving time. It might make them drive a little bit, but they might be willing to do a joint event. I think Matt Rubel might be willing to add another sport to their calendar. So we can all merge in that area, so nobody's driving a long way.
We've talked at West County about wanting to do bocce, but we just haven't ever had a chance to add it. So that would be something I'd be interested in doing.
That'd be good. So yeah, so we get Cape Independent and West St. Francis, maybe. And I think once we did it up there, they might be willing to try it. So, and then maybe if St. Louis would come down, we could share that. We used to go to their golf tournament. We still do go to their golf tournament. We used to go to their tennis. We stay home now and do it in Cape. I wish we had more tennis athletes. Would help. If we could grow any of our sports, that's overall what we could do to improve them.
I think that we could even grow tennis more if we just, put it out there a little bit more. But as I told Wanda the other day, I said, what's going to hurt us this year is because we have several tennis players that wants to do bocce at area, but they practice the same night. And so they would have to go straight from bocce over to tennis. Well, for some of the athletes, that's going to be, 3 or 4 hours. That's a long evening for them.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I know 2 tennis players that want to do it at area. And I told them, I said, I totally understand that, but you better stop and just think, if practice is on the same night, that's going to be a long evening for y'all. And it's going to be hard for 3 or 4 hours of being outside, and trying to get both practices in. I mean,
And then only getting to do one at an area tournament only. That's
Yeah.
why I would love for them to put bocce back with spring games, because there's so many of our athletes that are getting older that don't want to do the track and the field and all of that stuff. But that would give them an option of a lower
yes.
effort sport at spring games. And then maybe some of them would go to tennis or to, a lot of them play softball anyway. So that's just like Lisa. She didn't want to do anything with track and field this year. There's others too. I've heard a lot of the athletes, they just don't want to do all the track stuff anymore.
Yeah. Well, we tried to bring on flag football last year, which I thought that was going to go. I really didn't, and we just didn't get any enters. We had I think TJ and a couple people did, but I was surprised they didn't. But maybe again a longer weekend, staying on to Sunday to play. But we would like to see a team in flag football. But I do think we can grow tennis, and Melody, you're right. We'll probably start offering that out up to the northern schools. See if the MAAA conference would pick up tennis. They all have tennis facilities, I believe. At least then, if we had an area tournament, they'll be younger. The high school kids will be close enough in size and ability that they can probably challenge you. But that's what we need. The one thing that will help all sports is just more athletes competing in more sports.
Yes, I
Not
agree.
just track and field. So
Yes.
that's one thing. Angie, if you could spread the word with the other schools in MAAA, that if we could get, I know out of school seasons is tough, but if we could start getting more interested in bowling, I think 3 or 4 of the schools do bowling. I know bowling's tough with space, but if we could get interested in tennis, bocce, basketball 3-on-3, so like Melody's and Peggy's and Wanda's teams would have some, even if that high school age group, 16 to 21 would be an age group that would even match up with some of Jeff Partridge's out of Sykeston. We just need more people playing 3-on-3, especially. I'm not so worried about the full court. They get that when we go to regional and state, but 3-on-3 competitions would be easy to do. I know Kennett would love to do stuff, but they can't. There's nobody for them to play. They're in that 7 and 8, 9 age group, and there's nobody for them to play. So they're actually doing stuff internally in Kennett School, and then they actually had some people from Arkansas they matched up with. So just in all the sports, and we'll try to get more stuff out there with those seasons. We won't assume people don't want to do tennis or golf. We actually had an agency come on here in Cape called Morningstar. They're going to have 10 golfers this year.
Wow.
So if they bring on 10 golfers with our 4 or 5 golfers, then we've got a pretty good contingency of golfers to start maybe doing a local competition. So moving on, watch the time here. Is there a way that someone can help our volunteers? I know there's times when volunteers get criticized for their preparation at events, and we've tried to get routinely at softball and basketball. When we've done things like that, we're bringing in officials that are high school officials and intramural officials. They've got background. Some people may not like that, but they are good qualified officials that we have when we do those sports down here. All the softball umpires at regional area are all ASA certified. I think the volunteer criticisms come in for the track meets and stuff like events like that. I know like Melody got to jump in last year, and Peggy has helped volunteer at events. It is harder than you think when you get called in for one day to run an event, but we're also a little bit under the gun because we are dealing with people for one day events. But is there anything you can think offhand that you'd like to see our volunteers be better prepped on?
What can we do to help volunteers be prepared?
I think a lot of it is just like, I mean, because we should appreciate them no matter what. They are volunteering just like anyone else. But I think a lot of times, just like in bowling, they're so distracted, the younger ones, and we know this. I mean, we've all had teenagers. They're so distracted with their friends and everything that we just got to kind of remind them a little bit more to be paying attention a little more, that we appreciate them. We really do. But, you know, then it gets the athletes frustrated, and then it gets everyone else. Well, they're kids, a lot of them teenagers. So again, we appreciate that they're here, but just, you know, reiterate more to them the
Right.
importance of paying attention. You know, yes, you are volunteering, but you choose to volunteer. You know, nobody made you, you chose to. So, you know, just try to pay attention a little bit more.
Yeah,
You know, stay focused on it.
we'll send that out to their supervisors. I know a lot of the schools do the bowling tournaments in Cape and Farmington, so we'll make sure we send out something to their advisors. Maybe just a sheet they can prep them on to let them know that's their one day to compete. So really take it serious. I mean, a lot of our athletes know how to school bowling probably better than a lot of volunteers do, actually. So the kids in high school, they never bowled. They're probably at a disadvantage with some of our veteran athletes who know how to follow the board. So that's a good thing. But we just need them to maybe be more, if anything, just be encouraging and pay attention, not be on their phones and talking to
Hey,
friends.
Scott.
We definitely make a point of that.
Scott, can I interrupt?
Yes.
And just so everybody knows, we do meet with them prior to any competition and kind of go over things. But I think I agree with what Melody says. They're just easily distracted. But we do go through a process with every volunteer before we ever start, and kind of explain to them what their role is and remind them of why they're there. So that doesn't not happen. It does happen. It's just that, and some of them, no matter where we're at, no matter what the level of volunteer, some of them are simply more engaged than others.
And this question too, just so you guys know, it came from the state office. So they're worried more about, like, I think we're able to do a good job with our little groups here. They're struggling to do it kind of at that bigger level when people get to the state game level and they come in too. And I know they're looking for ideas, and we've talked a little bit about how a lot of our events, we give little sheets, and it may not seem like much, but it does help at our smaller area, our track meets and our bowling and stuff like that too. So yeah, it's a mass amount of volunteers that they have come in and out quickly at those state games, and they're struggling with that.
I think consistency is key. I think at Cape, we have the same businesses coming back like Ameren and Culver's and our Parks and Rec staff. There's not usually a problem there. MAAA, we've got a great group of people up there that are there every year. Poplar Bluff track meet is a tough one because we do have some changeover there each year. That's why we usually bring in coaches from like Cape Independent, like Wanda's come down, Melody last year, Stan's there every year. So it is good to have veteran coaches coming in and helping those areas where, like at Poplar Bluff, we're working a lot with volunteer group homes. So they also have behavioral, issues with their volunteers. So they're trying to keep them engaged. But even those volunteers have some components they're trying to deal with, and they're under strict supervision and can only go so many places within that facility. So that's a good point. We can do a better job of reminding and walking around, telling people to be more involved and engaged. The last question is one that will probably draw some, we'd like to have comments from each of you on this one because it is important. It's a little bit long, but let me read it slow. What are your thoughts on eliminating the SGAs that you pay per athlete, but having teams secure their own housing at state events instead? The average cost per room is $120. If teams make their own housing arrangements and pay for their own rooms, it would be at the discretion of the coach how many people to put in each room. As of right now, we have guidelines that if it's booked under Special Olympics and done through a contract with Special Olympics, they tell you what you can do in a room. If you do it on your own, it would be the coach. They're saying it'd be the coach's responsibility, but you could put as many athletes in the room with boundaries. You can't put 10 athletes in a room, but you could put up to 4 athletes in a room, unless I guess it's got a sleeper of some kind. So that's kind of what they're looking at. here's the breakdown right now, so you understand what we pay. Right now, hotel rooms are usually $120 per night. You might want to write this down, $120 per night, and an average of 2 nights. So for each room, we're paying $240 on a weekend. If you do 12 rooms for like an area team, that would be $2,880 for like one agency who's booked 12 rooms. That's just an example. But for like bowling and some of our things, we're easily doing 12 rooms. Basketball, we're doing 12 rooms. So that shows you kind of the cost, what 12 rooms, almost $3,000 it costs to do that. That would average 36 people at $80 a person. So that's if we did it the way they're talking about it. And they said, while it is $20 more, they can put as many or as few people in the room as they want. I know some workshop groups, I know Crossroads probably has some concerns. They don't want 4 in a room sometimes. Some people like Kennett for the school, they have to have more control of the environment. And they don't even prefer, that's why Kennett, some schools won't go now because it is an hotel room. But if there are hotel rooms involved, that's something they're looking at, just investigating. How would that go over, paying $20 more a person, but having control of it? What that would mean would be Soma would secure the hotels. They would make the room blocks for you, but the teams, the coaches, would make their own reservations and be responsible for paying it directly. Not saying they're going to do that. They're just wanting that option out there to see what your input would be, and we would like each of you to respond to that one.
Okay, but it's going to be $20 more a room, and then are we responsible for the food ourselves then?
No, and it's not necessarily $20 or more. That's just an example that
Just
they gave.
right.
It totally varies based on how many people you put in rooms. They were just saying if you had 36 and they did divide it even, that would be 80 a person. Food would still be, the same meals would still be offered through Special Olympics. It goes a lot more to kind of how they're supplementing with donations and things like that. So the meals, the same type of meal. So you don't, what you're getting now would remain the same on site. The difference would be we wouldn't collect SGAs, but you guys would be responsible to pay for your own hotel rooms. So it could,
Okay.
that $80 is just one example that they give. So it might be cheaper if you put more in rooms or less and so forth. So if you stay one
So
night
they would,
versus 2, so that would make a difference too. Like if you're going for one night, it would only be 1 night a hotel room.
so as far as the room block, would they select a hotel for us, and like all of Southeast area would still be at that hotel? We would just call in and do the rooms. It's not like you say, Special Olympics has blocked a hotel at Drury, at Hampton, at all these places, and then I can pick what hotel I want to go to. I would still be, Southeast area will still be assigned a hotel. Is that correct?
That's not been determined yet.
Okay.
They're still in the very initial phases of even seeing what feedback they have in terms of, is this something that we should even pursue, I think, before they get into any details like that so far.
I don't
In
think
their mind, what's the benefit? In their mind, what's the benefits for Special Olympics? Just that the time that it takes to book it?
I think the benefit is more the flexibility on the team side. They were so limited. There's rules that have to stay in place every time that these rooms are being booked in terms of, Bobby can probably speak to this a lot more than Crossroads. You got to do a waiver for this person to stay with this person and this athlete. There's so many rules and limitations that the coaches are having to follow. And I know some of our coaches already don't utilize the rooms that are provided through Special Olympics because there are all the rules. So the idea with this being, this is going to make it a lot easier for teams to decide who is staying where and how many people are in a room or which people are in a room, that without following kind of those Special Olympics requirements per room. So I think that's the advantage on the coach's side, but it will be more expensive. That does vary, based on the cost of rooms and how long you're staying and how many people you got in them.
I don't think it takes the burden off the coach. I mean, you have to collect checks for the SGAs, but you're still going to have to collect the money to pay the hotel bill. And how that would look, it would look different for everybody. For some people, they might be able to collect the money and pay cash at the door at the counter. For some coaches, they might charge it on their card and have to collect it, which would probably not be favorable to a lot of coaches. But so that would look a lot different for a lot of different people. It might be somebody collecting money and then writing a check. The coach is writing a check for it. So I don't think those details have been worked out yet. I think in theory, they're just thinking the flexibility of assigning rooms and working that would be, and then like if you're only staying one night, you wouldn't be bound to staying 2 nights necessarily. But Penny, I don't think they would say Southeast area you get Drury Law or you get Drury Inn. I think Melody and Wanda would probably book Cape Independent as a unit where they want to be together. So they'd always have to book 12 rooms together. Peggy might want to put the bowling team there too, but may not be able to. So she might have to go to different hotels, but that would be part of maybe the flexibility. I mean, not probably part of the problem being you have to book your own rooms. You may not all get to be together. So,
I know with us, we have several that they have one-on-one staff. And so we'll have to put a staff in with one consumer. So we have to pay for that room because of that. So we can't put, 2 consumers, 2 staff, or 3 consumers and 1 staff in a room. So that's where we pay our extra for our rooms. And I mean, that's something that we have to do. And it works out a lot better for us, for our company, and for our consumers.
so Bobby,
yeah.
Bobby Crossroads. So Bobby, so you thinking you would be favorable to this? Then you just guys write to pay this and organize this yourself, or you're just saying in those instances it's better?
For us, it's better because, I mean, we already do it. We already have to pay the extra for the rooms because we already have to get the extra rooms because, like, we have several that's like in wheelchairs, or we have guys that are larger and that can't share a bed. So we're already doing this. So to us, it's better for us to do this.
Okay, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
if they change it, is it going to be, we can only do it one way or the other? Because a lot of our athletes have a problem coming up with the $60. If we're going to tell them they have to come up with more,
That's what I was going to
they're not
say.
gonna be able to go.
Yeah, a lot of our struggle with that. I mean, we have to just stay on them and stay on them. Don't forget, so I always start at the beginning of the season, don't forget, but even then at the time to go, you're struggling to still get their money. So, I mean, $20 to them is
That's
$20.
their food. That's their
Especially if
food.
they're in an agency or in a group home that they barely get the $60. I mean, because a lot of times if we drive, I always tell my athletes bring an extra $10 for snacks or something, because if not, if we're driving to Jefferson City and we have to stop and these athletes can't even get a soda because all they had was their $60, I mean, they're struggling with that.
And remember, $20 is that's not a thing. That was an
Yeah.
example that was said. It could be cheaper if we
Yeah.
stay in Columbia versus Jeff City. I don't know the price. If this hotel, so it's not necessarily more expensive. Just to think about it that way. So I definitely put down that money is already an issue, so making it more expensive would be an issue. In terms of the logistics, how would that be for you guys? If you took the money out, just I'm curious of your thoughts on that. If you took the money aspect out of it, logistically, would that be easier or harder for you guys?
I don't know that it makes a difference to me. I have a quick question though. What about parents? So are we blocking off just a certain amount of rooms in each hotel so the parents can stay in those same hotels, or?
That would actually be an advantage to all this right now, is that potentially your parents would be more easily able to get group rooms within the group than we do right now, potentially.
I could see one disadvantage to this, or maybe it would hold more people accountable. And that is, like, as you know, we have situations where like people sign up to go and we reserve the rooms and then they don't show up. I mean, we have Special Olympics has always incurred those costs for the most part, but then would those coaches have to be held accountable for that, or how's that going to work? That I think would be something that would be a question that we'd have to address, because I don't want to see our coaches, they give enough
That's
of what
right.
they do or enough time already, and then they can't help it. It's not their fault that somebody doesn't show up or whatever. There would have to be some provisions outlined, I think, to protect them too, if they do reserve rooms and then people don't show up.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. And you game day, you're getting ready to get on the bus, and you have two drop,
Yeah.
there's 2 rooms, then you just drove those other 2 people, dividing that money up more, but it would still have to be paid. Again, I want to clarify. So that 80 per room was based on 3 people in a room. So I know a lot of times if you can put 4 in a room, then you're dropping that down to about 60. But if you take this by 12, they use 36 people, and there's a 2880, which is the 80 per room. So for every room you can get a 4th person in, you definitely drive that cost down.
I think overall it would, I mean, when you come down to it, you could probably, it would honestly be probably cheaper on the athletes when it come time said and done. But it's a matter of then you finding one coach that's going to say, hey, yep, I'm going to go ahead and take the chance, and I'm going to put all this on my credit card, you know, and then just wait for the other coaches to give me my money back. Does that make sense? I
Yeah,
mean, I think it would be easier overall and probably cheaper if they did it that way.
God, who's going to want to do that though?
I agree. That's what I said. You know, who wants to take on the possibly $2,500 or $3,000 and wait for 3 or 4 other coaches to try to collect money when we already know some of our athletes struggle as it is. So we're going to be eating some of that cost. We know that. I mean, every year and it's okay. I don't care at all. I mean, because I want the athletes to go, but every year I'm, you know, helping buy in food or things like that because they're already struggling. So again, who's going to want to take on that big chunk knowing that they possibly are going to help with other things as well? Does that make sense?
Oh, it definitely does, especially for the independent groups like, you know, Cape Independent now, like for school systems. I assume most of the time they're taking care of that through the school.
Yes.
Crossroads, Bobby, you're right. You guys are paying that bill. Sherry Mason out of St. Francis County, I'm sure they're taking care of that. But it is a smaller independent group, which there may not be a lot of them, but where that is in place, we might just have to, we can only speak for our area, work out some way that we have a system kind of like we do on the fuel cards, or we help cover that in some way. So nobody gets stuck with it. I think probably some of the independent groups are not the normal situations in the state. I think all of the workshops and the group homes, the schools are probably for the most part taking care of their stuff.
Well, and I will say we are probably the only area that's still giving flexibility with a deadline. Most of the other areas, if they have not paid their SGAs by the deadline, which is usually 2 or 3 weeks out from state games, that athlete is not going.
Yeah.
So, and that's a tough opposite end. But like I said, we're pretty much the only area that's still given that gray area between when that deadline is pay or go and when they actually get on the van or get in the vehicle to go or collecting it a day late, you know, whatever that situation is. So that's where some of that our gray area may, if this were to move forward, our gray area would have to become a lot less gray to protect you guys as the person paying it. You know, hey, you haven't, because right now we have that date. You get off, you know, you get off the bus before this date, you're not going to get charged. If it's after this date, somebody's paying that SGA, regardless if that athlete goes or not. Well, like I said, everybody else has kind of gone to, that means the money's in by that time or that athlete gets scratched. And, you know, that's something to consider.
I mean, you guys all do. We really are like our area. We do a good job of collecting. The coaches do a great job. The schools getting that in. I don't think Penny knows probably more than anybody who we don't have that many that lag behind. But we also know it's a lot of burden on you guys to collect 25 separate checks and cash and things for them to go. So I don't think by any means this thing's a home run yet for anybody, but I think they are looking at other ways to. This has been brought up many times over the years. I think just now they're really trying to make it not only more economical, but they're trying to give a little bit more control and authority to the coaches and parents. But it may not work out best for all. We'll just have to see what they come up with.
Kim, did you have any thoughts on this part? I want to throw you under here.
Did you say Kim?
Yeah, I did.
Sorry, yeah. No, we already stay in a motel because all of mine are adults.
Right.
So
I
all
think
my kids are older.
And how is that process for you?
It works perfect. But I also have a lot of my adults' parents also come along with us. So it would be great if we could all stay in the same place. I'm sure my gang's all for it.
Okay, thank you.
At West County, we pay for the athletes. We don't make them pay themselves. So if they don't show up, we're out that money anyway. So I don't see that this would make much of a difference for us. We fundraise for our money. So I think it's, I don't see it really being a big deal either way for us. That's why I was just concerned about the food. If I had to come up with more money for the food was why I had the food question. So.
So it may be a very few groups statewide. If it is, if we only have one or two, I think we would just probably work out something like we do on the fuel, and where we have independent agencies that we help with that overage, or if you get, I don't know how we work that out, Melody or Peggy, but we would probably have to look into that and see how we could help and make sure those things are covered so you're not getting stuck with the bill. Because we wouldn't have that. We won't do it, but we won't be able to participate if that's the case. So we'll get those comments put in and worked out.
That was kind of our questions that we were asked to ask you guys. Is there anything else while we're here and you've got us that you need to know or you have opinions on?
Do you have any idea how the virtual thing is going to work? Do you know anything about that yet?
I don't think they know quite yet, honestly.
Okay.
The Somewhat Home has been a real helpful for them to kind of test out some different things. They've been trying different setups and different ways of doing it. There's talk, and they're talking to some other groups that are doing sports virtually. So the answer is no, I don't know. And I don't think they're quite know yet. I know they've got a lot of good ideas and are talking through some things. And but the idea is going to be basically athletes there's a couple different ideas, whether they submit scores virtually or whether they actually participate. But it's, yeah, not really sure how that's going to look yet.
I mean, I know high schools are doing all kinds of stuff right now. Nick goes to Notre Dame here. They've been doing virtual homework where they have to make them go out for PE. They have to go out and do activities out in the yard, showing themselves doing stuff, timing themselves. So I don't know. They'll come up with some good ideas, I'm sure. That again, not all the athletes will be able to do it, but they're trying to find ways to get people that can involved until we can get back. So hopefully the next season we kind of get back going with softball and all those, and we can put this behind us. So.
I do want to throw a couple things out there. I do want to say thanks to Melody for helping post stuff on Facebook. Facebook is really powerful, and she does such a good job of sending our message. And you may be doing it, Melanie, and I don't know. If you tag our Facebook page too, we're going to try to do a better job of keeping more things current on there. And Jen can share with you our Facebook address for those of you that don't know. And then I just want to remind everybody, this is going to be such a difficult year for us fundraising this year. So know that the raffle will be coming out here shortly. We want to encourage everybody to participate and help us fundraise with the raffle because we lost so much funding with spring games, and we're going to try to recoup some of that with softball. But we really need some help in our area. And then also, if you have connections with a Tip-A-Cop or want to do a Tip-A-Cop in your area, those have been so successful for us in Cape. We'd like to do some in other places as well. So just reach out to me or shoot an email to one of us, and then we can take the initiative to get those scheduled as well.
Okay. I spoke to Derek, and hopefully we should be getting one down our area.
Okay, good.
This has been really busy and everything, a lot of changes. And
Right.
so, but I mean, I've talked to them and I've put it in their head, the importance of us needing one down here.
Great.
So,
and tell them we'll do all the table toppers and all that. Just call me and we produce all that stuff and I'll get it to you. So.
okay.
We don't even know what, even the fundraising we do, if we get to do the MAAA track meet, that'll be a good source of income. the wagon and trail ride was, canceled, or they're gonna do something maybe online with those donors who normally do that. Penny's working with Wanda and the people that do it. But all that money is there. It pays for a lot more. It pays for all the vans, a lot of the transportation costs for a lot of things. The track meet helps pay for a lot of Cape Independence expenses throughout the year. So we're probably going to do more fundraising at the bowling tournaments. Even the Tivicops will be affected because those are based on restaurants and volume, and those restaurants are going to be probably not having near the seating capacity at least coming back into this. So even those things will be. This is going to affect almost everything we do, as it's affecting everybody in the community. So every not-for-profit or every organization is going to see impact, from facility rentals to restaurants who give back. So even give back nights, we just thought about doing more give back nights at restaurants, which could help them too. But again, with seating limitations, they'll be limited to how many people they can maybe let in until that's lifted. But we will be working. We are working now. Penny's got letters going out to a lot of past sponsors, just checking on them and seeing if they're going to come through. And I believe they will. There are some good signs that a lot of people haven't been affected, but a lot of people have been affected. So we are lucky that we've got our athletes are very popular among the communities we're in, and I think it will hold its own when it comes to dollars being donated when we come back out of this. So, but thanks for bringing that up, Penny, because that is what will make everything go. And I will get in touch with everybody as soon as I can once I talk with Matt Rubel again about the track meet in September if we can do something. So.
Do you guys know, has the torch run totally been canceled as well?
Penny, do you know that?
That's like Logan's favorite thing out of the whole year. So, I just keep putting him off because, I know what our officers say, hey, well, kind of, that's our understanding. But he wants to know because he knows May's coming up, and that's a big deal for him.
Well, we know that we're not doing anything through the 31st of May. I think that they will do something probably at some other point in time. They're not going to give that up, I don't think, because it is such a big fundraiser in areas. So stay tuned to that, but that's a good question. I'll put that on Crystal's radar and see if she's got any updates on that, Melody. But tell Logan for right now, probably not in May, because I know how focused he is. He knows it's May. May's coming, so it probably won't be May.
Okay.
You're muted, Melody. You're muted.
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay.
If anybody else too, after this, like I said, please email me if you've got any follow-ups or you think, oh, I wish I had said that. I definitely want to hear from you. And have your athletes join in on the athlete input councils too. If you guys want, definitely share that information with them. And if you guys need anything else from us, please let us know. Thank you guys for your time today. It's appreciated.
Thank you. Should I?
Hold on.